mistaken, I think it's 1.5.
So this property, you offer this property, you offer $1.5 million for this property. To your knowledge, have there ever been any other offers greater than your offer?
I don't think they have. I can see that when you purchase something or when you finance something, usually that amount shows up on public record, or whatever you finance shows up on public record, and I see that this property was purchased previously by the current owner for $750,000.
One last question. What is the next meeting that you will present to the community on the deliberations that you're taking? And can you assure us that board members will be there or the owner? I assume that I only assume.
No, it's a
And I'm always
council.
told you never should assume.
No, there's no.
But it seems like to me that you have small number of families, $1.5 million, money to renovate the property just to get it so you can use the property. There's got to be some big money behind your little group of people. And we'd like to know, is that one person who carries the blunt?
Unless you're asking somebody to, like any other organization, that's like asking, how are you able to afford your house in this area? There's very expensive houses in this area.
Don't
You could
religious
have one.
organizations, don't they have to report who their affiliates are?
Yes.
They have to report donations. They're a nonprofit.
Okay.
So whatever money is donated, as they have said that they have donated that money.
We have no problem with the faith, with your faith at all.
What's the
We're not
concern?
discriminating
Sure.
at all
No,
in
what's the
here.
concern?
We just want to see the best use aside of our neighborhood.
Yeah.
For somebody to come in, and we're just trying to figure out what their plan is. It still concerns me that at the last meeting, the guy in the suit at the end, who is Jeff, I asked him, and it sounds like he is the lead guy of.
As far as guiding
He's on the
the
application.
citizens board.
He's
Yeah,
on
he might
the
be.
application.
Yeah.
He did not say who he was.
That's weird.
When
That's
we
weird.
asked, and did we not ask? We
We did, I
asked.
mean, we were specifically told there were no representatives of the organization here.
Right.
You said you're
He completely sidestepped that whole thing and just acted like he was with. It's very
There's
sketchy.
I
there's no
get-
need for
yeah, I
any
don't
lack
know
of
why-
transparency here, there's nothing sketchy going
Yeah.
on.
Are there
There's a
any board
reason-
members that live in this area here?
Let's see. No, Ahmed does not, he lives in the Plaza area.
Moyne on the board.
No, my husband, no, we're not officially on the board, but like, we're close to a lot of people on the board.
It's very similar.
Valentine, oh yeah, Forrest lives in
Forrest
Marble
Gordon's
Creek.
right, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he's in California.
The only
Unfortunately.
reason he's not here is because he's traveling.
Yeah,
Drop off
his
his
daughter
daughter.
is
And
in
the
college.
traffic is another concern of ours,
Yeah.
which is concern.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not ignoring it. I'm not, she can't see your hand.
Okay, sorry.
Please, please.
So, 2,600 square feet, half of that square footage for ancillary aisles, whatnot, you've got a 1,300, six square feet per person. You've got an occupancy somewhere around 200 in this building.
Yeah.
So that, now, parking spaces, you're gonna have to put in 2.5 per, 2.5 people per space. That's usually, that's the.
I misspoke, it's actually
And so-
3,100 square feet.
Yeah.
2602 on the first floor,
Wait 1
2703
second.
with the second floor, I'm sorry, 2602 on the first floor, 740 square feet of storage,
Okay.
and then total covered area, which I'm assuming, I mean this outside
Yeah.
here,
I'm just,
3,100.
I'm just trying to get to it.
Trying to get you involved.
I'm trying to get to a head count, basically, and I'm thinking of this in terms of permitting, how fire marshals and building standards will look at this. That's about two and a half. You're gonna be roughly 85, 90 spaces required for it. You're gonna have to have a traffic impact analysis. TIA will have to be done at that level, whether you have 20 people starting to come here. Initially, it's it's not about how that is going to impact, it's what is this designed for at maximum use. So those are things you need to be looking at now, and I would contact the fire marshal right out of the gate and see. I'm not sure that it would have to be, provided there are sufficient exits, but if you do have to have, sprinkler system in there, is there sufficient water supply, or do you need a tank and booster pump?
You're also gonna need bathrooms for X amount of occupants too, I think it's 30 per. One facility.
You got a handicap access. You have to have handicap access in the building, you'll have to have, one restroom per 12, I believe is the current requirement, 10 to 12. And then there's, how are we gonna divide those up? We'll make the meeting simple one, is it?
Some things I suggest you consider before you progress to the point of this coming before the council and the planning board. And actually, I'd almost say before you progress to the point of actually purchasing the property, is I would look at, based on your plans, your Friday afternoon, prayer service, whatever it's called, your monthly, weekly social gathering. Find out if someone has said, what's got to be done to the barn to qualify. I would also then look at what's got to be done in terms of the traffic impact analysis. Because you probably, I can't say for sure, you may need a left-hand turn lane coming in to this property. The plan, and that's a plan from 11 years ago, calls for the addition of a 30-foot wide driveway in addition to the single driveway there. It's very difficult, I can't speak for the town, but it's very difficult to get additional curb cuts into a road, especially a road as busy as Newtown. Again, I find out.
What's the curb cut? Is it like the shoulder? What's the curb cut?
To go from this property out onto the road.
Oh, okay.
And to enter onto the road. There's one there now that's 14. This
Yeah.
plan says we want another one 20 feet down from it that's going to be 30 feet wide. And I guarantee you that won't fly. So, I look into the septic. I've heard stuff on septic. And what I would do is look at
I'm
all that.
already doing all this.
Look at all that stuff and get an idea. And even if your plan is initially, we just want to focus on this barn for our gallery. Because you could, and I can't say how it would turn out, but you could come before the council and planning board, say, for 5 years or some time, we're not going to use those buildings. We're not going to let them get dilapidated, but we're not going to use them because our plan is to pay this. It adds more information to the plan you're looking at doing. And if you realize this is going to cost $250,000, that's going to cost $20,000, that's going to cost $1 million. I'm not saying you don't purchase the property, but I wouldn't purchase it for $1.5 million.
Yeah, you don't want to go into.
I feel, and I say this with the greatest respect. I feel you are coming in as very green novices. And I think you need to get someone that's got some experience to guide you through this. And you could really get screwed. And you're good people. We don't want that to happen.
Sir, what is this something that you do? Is this like, are you like a real estate person?
No.
Like planning person?
I'm on the town planning board, so
Ah.
I'm just giving you some ideas.
So we can come to you for this type
Well,
of.
no, you come to, our planner's back there.
Oh,
He's the
gosh.
guy that
He's the
really runs
guy.
the show.
You gotta
But
budget
additional costs we were talking about,
Yeah.
if you only have one bathroom in here, you have to put 50 parking spaces out.
Yeah.
You gotta add 2 or 3 extra bathrooms.
Sure.
And there's no sewer here. Where is the septic?
Well, the thing is that the
You can't put
schools
it
in
under a
this,
parking lot.
do what now?
You can't put septic under a parking lot, so it's gotta perk somewhere on the property.
At the last meeting, it was requested or suggested that when you come back with a drawing, you show where the septic fields are.
Right.
And instead, being a little negative here, instead you come back with a
there's nobody here that actually makes the decision on the septic system.
All
That's
I'm
the
saying
health
is,
department.
you're sharing information with the people here. That same information is gonna be required for the council and the planning board. So it's not a question of
Not throwaway words.
no decision makers being here, it's letting people know what your plans are. I mean, I've learned a lot just talking to you two compared to last week, but, I mean, there's just a lot of work that's gotta be done, but I think, again, I feel you're novices and no one's looking out for you.
Yeah, no, I see where, I see the impression that's coming off is that you feel like we might be coming into this blind, right? Like,
Yes.
we don't know what we're getting into, and
Yes.
it might spell trouble essentially, right? That, you know, costs and all that stuff aren't being considered. And now Juan, I know you've kind of, you know, a lot of the concerns, it sounds like Juan has been working behind the scenes.
What was one?
Juan's our consultant, like our real estate consultant.
Well, so you're the real estate guy?
No, I'm a civil engineer.
Okay, so you're a civil engineer.
Yeah.
So have you done these kind of things before?
For the last 22 years.
Well, again, I don't want to be negative, but as a civil engineer, being a consultant for these people, this is the most ill-prepared presentation I've ever seen. I know that's harsh, and it's improved a lot since last time. If you're their consultant, he's not doing you guys justice.
I want to talk
And
about
the other gentleman who was here, what's his name, Jeff?
Jeff.
What is his role? He's on the board?
He's a board member.
Is he a real estate agent?
He's in Italy right now.
Who's getting the commission for the sale of the property?
The real estate agent.
Well, who is that?
Was he the one that was
last
here
It was
last
his-
time?
Yeah.
See the one
time. I mean,
that's
there's a
waiting?
guy that's got a vested interest to sell this thing versus looking out for you. Again, I just feel you're
No, I
very
appreciate
naive coming into
No, I
this.
appreciate
You're good folks. You need to get people that can answer your questions, guide you very specifically. And then, I mean, I can go into other things
Yeah.
just off the top of my head. The
But-
drawing shows a 50-foot buffer from the center of the road. I don't know where the property line is. Does the property line go to the center of the road?
It does.
So you know that for sure?
Yes.
Okay. And then you're looking at a 50-foot, well, it said 42-foot buffer.
Well, the 50-foot setback is from the right of way, not the center of the road.
Okay, but 13 years ago, the proposal was 42 feet, and I'm assuming 50 feet from the center of the road, if that's where the property is, which happens from time to time in Weddington, especially on older property. So you're talking 92 feet. Today's ordinance is 100 feet. That's only 8 feet, but those are things you have to look at and consider. So,
I want to talk about the house. If I were purchasing this property, I would be looking at every building and have people come in and tell me, do we have a bad mold problem? Is it black mold? If you guys are not going to do anything for 5 years, it's going to get worse. By the time you do get around to doing it, it could be quadrupled in price to try to address whatever is going on there. So, I think you need to know what kind of issues are going on here, and you need to negotiate price, because you're paying way too much for this piece of property based on what I've seen so far. It could be really problematic, so you don't want to just jump into something. There's a couple people in here wearing masks. I can smell the mold in this building right here. It's nothing compared to that one over there, but there is mold in here. We can all feel it, right, when we're breathing. So you need to have everything checked out. I would do that
That's
personally.
very helpful.
I'm concerned for you
I
guys.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is hard-earned, donated money from families.
I'm sorry, I've repeatedly searched for an answer to this, but I have been assured that there are restrictions on properties within so many feet that may be adjoining a religious organization. Can anyone speak to legally what that might entail? It's very concerning
I
for
haven't-
people who
I haven't seen
adjacent
anything.
property.
I haven't seen anything in the ordinance that, you know, and I read the entire ordinance.
Can you find that? Because I have searched all through North Carolina and I can't find.
So it depends. The thing about it is that every municipality has different ordinances. It's not universal.
Okay.
So, we go from here to the next county or the city, you know, it's different. And I've probably permitted in a couple of hundred different municipalities in county, city, state, and they're never the same.
Sorry, what's,
The
sorry.
town- The town's current UDO, here's Greg, make sure I'm not speaking out of turn here. The town's UDO currently classifies a church, synagogue, mosque, or religious facility as an acceptable use in residential. And there are still requirements of terms, and this I'm not sure of, but I think if it's residential, it still applies. 15-foot setbacks from the side property.
Now, I'm asking on impacts on properties close to that. Like, I was told no livestock, no, I can't
Well,
remember.
if
the
it's
rest of it.
resident, no, yeah, you're not gonna be bringing cows in. I mean,
No, on the adjacent properties.
on the, well, the same thing.
We own 10 acres over there. We may, you know, there's no telling what we might do
Well,
with that.
if you own 10 acres, and is it zoned residential?
Yeah.
Well, actually, is it in Weddington or is it unincorporated?
It's next door.
Pardon me?
It's next door.
It's a narrow plantation.
No.
On the other side of the road?
Yeah, I
You're
know
right
where
there,
that is.
right?
Yeah,
Next,
there's-
next two
that might
houses
be
on
the
12 mile
dividing
creek
line.
road. Are you in actual Weddington?
So it's,
Can I ask
zoned
a
residential.
question? Why don't you guys just find some land and build a beautiful barn?
Be cheaper.
There's land around here, and you could just build a beautiful barn, of any kind of facility.
Looked at a lot of
Yeah.
jobs.
It's
What's
been there
drawing you
number.
guys here? I guess
Oh,
is
it
what-
wasn't something, there were a lot of lots, right, when the real estate agent
Yeah.
was looking at, and like I said, in our weekly and monthly, when we're like, what's going on? Have we found the space, you know, we're trying to raise this so much money, and we saw a lot of spaces, but I think this was the only one that came up as a viable option.
Yeah.
Right, to support the number of families that we have and just the location also. So for a lot of us that live right here, Marvin and Weddington, our closest to Pleasanton, if we want to take our kids to Sunday school, just to learn about religion, we have to drive like 50 to 55 minutes. No, but like, for example, those family nights, for those family nights, sometimes those scholars come and speak to, we talk about those type of things. There are absolutely no plans for us.
At the beginning, it's going to be a little bit at the site, tell a little bit of our creek, that's really what we're going to do in this area.
I'm not the only one that was
Like, I know a lot of folks being able to make it find something, or not. If you think Providence Town is like a habit, I kind of feel like maybe I could just be really tired right now. But I kind of feel like maybe this seems like the easiest thing to buy, and like, we're going to pay attention, like, oh, it's this place, it's them on the corner. But I don't see you going to Providence Town and trying to do this for them. And it's right next to their house. 'Cause I live right next door.
Do you guys
You
plan-
have that property and I have the property next door.
Do you guys plan to broadcast the calls to prayer?
I don't think so. I don't
What
think
does
that's
that
it.
mean?
I don't know that there's many places in the US that actually do that.
Yeah, they don't, we don't.
Like in the movies, no.
Yeah, like a
Do you guys, you're talking about the Azan, the call to prayer? Yeah, I don't think I mean, I don't know any masjid around here that do that.
And I think, doesn't that have to pass like multiple?
That's like a ordinance.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying,
The
so.
few
The
places
Catholic
that I-
church down the road had to turn their bells down.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I've heard. I know that there's one place in the US, like in Michigan, and it's because they're demo, like their whole populace, you know, and then they pass like a dish ordinance, stuff like that.
We have a question.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, to kind of piggyback on what Bill was saying, was usually in Weddington, by the time the community meeting happens, there's a lot more of that detail to where the residents understand of like, oh, okay, it's gonna be this, you know, septic's figured out, you know, the other things are all kind of figured out, because then it goes to the planning board, which Bill's on, and then it's like, that's like, it's locked and loaded of, that's your plan of
Yeah.
what you want to present to the town council. So I think that's why it's been a lot of questions here, because normally we know a lot more detail
At this point in
Yeah,
the
you
process?
guys got nothing. You got,
Right,
like
so-
zero info.
Like there's even, like in the appendix of the UDO, there's certain requirements of maps that show the topography of the land, is there any ponds or, all of that kind of level of detail that we're kind of used to seeing of like, oh, I can look at this and be like, oh, that sounds great, or not, and it
Soil
gets.
analysis, I think, right? for
Like
the-
like for the septic, like if it turns out of like, oh, we need another field location, and we were gonna put parking here, but now we might need that space to have the additional septic field. You know what I'm saying, of where you kind of know those pieces to where when it comes to the planning board, for sure of like, here's where our parking is gonna be, here's where the septic field's gonna be, here's where that is, and it's kind of a little gray area right
Yeah,
now
yeah,
that
yeah.
I think that's why you're getting a lot of
I hear you.
these.
And I'll piggyback off, I'm the mayor.
Oh, I-
So I would say if this was presented to the council, we would just say, guys, come back, just stop it now and come back. So it's just like they're saying, we need all the detailed information, as opposed to, like I said earlier, what if, I don't really know, could be, those kind of things. It
So you
needs to
need a
be in
fully
stone.
baked plan, is essentially what, so, I think that's our.
Once again, I want to, we are not here to cause problems for you. It's wonderful that it's such a religious organization, their intentions are well. Our focus here tonight is basically to find out actually what's going to take place. And we actually, if I was sitting there instead of here, I would get in my car and say, you know what, boy, I learned a lot from those group of people. And is it your job as the engineer to come up with a proposal to your group as to what it's going to be able to cost these wonderful families to be able to use this facility? Have they asked you to come up with a number?
No.
So just think about that. I'm in the restaurant business, I've been in it for 30 years. I look at a piece of property. I have to do all my work before I decide what kind of traffic I'm going to have, what kind of, and there's so much to do. And it's hard to venture. And believe me, I respect your faith. This is not about your faith. But it's the idea is that this is something that, this is a dream for you. And I know how important dreams are, because we all dream. But you have to be also practical. And so if you're going to invest 1.5 million, okay, you already said that was your offer. And now you find out that he hasn't given, and I'm not being critical of him, but I'm trying to understand his responsibility that you placed on him. That he has not given you, as the gentleman just said, he has not given you a valid number, not a number that he's, off the top of his head. He has to go and do the work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of information. But that's what, I don't know if you're paying him or he's doing this as whatever it is. But he needs to give you this information. Look, you go at night, you say your prayers, and God, help me make a decision, right? And then God tells you, well, did you do this, this, and this? Because if you think God is just going to, boom, and this is all going to happen, and you're going to buy the property, and 6 weeks later, you're presented with this doesn't work, that doesn't work, the mayor and the city, they all come up with all these different things that this gentleman, very experienced, has said to you. So if I look at your shoes, looking at us, I say, boy, thank you for those people, because they're informative, they're knowledgeable, and they're just trying to give you some great information. So the responsibility is yours.
It's
And
outside
to
the
make sure
scope of
that
my
he's doing his
contract.
job. Excuse me?
It's outside the scope of my contract.
You guys can
I
get a new
wasn't-
person that represents you.
I wasn't hired to do that. The only thing I was hired to do was a rezone. Not to do any evaluation of the property, not to do traffic analysis.
And I'll say, as far as rezoning, it's going to be,
Yeah, so there's no.
the town's going to be hesitant to rezone it with like what's being said here,
Right.
because we don't know, okay, once the zoning is in place, then it's like, okay, we can't do this. Now it's flipped over to somebody else that we don't know what's coming in here, because it's been already rezoned. So we would take a stance of like, we don't want to rezone it. Because we
Yeah,
just
and-
don't
They
know.
don't have to approve this.
Right.
They have the option where they might not approve it, or they can approve it. So this is not a done deal. You have to go to the planning board, you have to go to the town council. Yeah,
And just to kind of give you, the one thing I forgot to mention when I talked with Mr. Alexander was beyond the sprinkler system, there was a lot of back and forth whether a left turn lane was gonna have to come in there to turn in because of traffic. Well, back then, in 2013, that was gonna be $500,000 that was gonna happen if it did. Now, it turns out at that point in time, it didn't get required, but it was the sprinkler system that kind of derailed this project. So it's like, we're just trying to make y'all aware, yeah, of potential impacts.
Easy, on top of what you're on there.
We can tell you, those of us who live right here, Newtown is extremely dangerous. Motorcycles and.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm scared driving.
It's like a race
And
car.
driving especially, right?
So I have horses who, like, two properties over, and the cars and those
Yeah.
laying down the stretch from this driveway to the curb.
I know.
Ready, but anyway, how's my one? And it's insane.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous, so you should know that.
And that's well inside the house. You guys really should look at that. That could be an environmental hazard. It's a well, it's been capped. There's, like you said, there's mold riddled in that house. It's crawling with mold. Crawling.
He said it was.
And you're gonna have someone from the county come out, the health department probably, and check that out.
Speaking of that, with 3 million plus total.
And also, I will tell you,
We've got some
the
smart
mayor may
people
like
in
to
here.
think more about this, but I'm not trying to be an asshole, so, sorry, I'm really not. But this just happened on Providence Road to somebody else who was trying to buy a church. And I don't know, across from the church on Providence Road, there's like a Christian church. I don't know what it is. It's next to Providence Acres, maybe. I don't know. Somebody bought it, tore the house down, and they were gonna build their church, and they had never, I guess, bought something here, didn't realize that they had to check what, if it hurt, X amount of background.
Oh, that's on
Now they're still,
16.
Yeah,
Took down the historic
Providence.
house.
yeah, they took down the historic house, and now they're just like,
And now they
Oh,
can't,
wow.
they can't do what they
Yeah,
wanted to do
right.
because they wanted to put
so you better, I would
multiple.
just say do my due
Washer,
diligence,
dryer,
because that could easily happen.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
Yeah, you gotta add bathrooms here. You gotta have area, there's no sewer on Newtown Road. Somewhere on this property, it's gonna have to perk for extra
And
bathrooms.
it can't be
Where
over
is it?
there, because that's a
Where is that
mess.
going to be?
It's like,
That's
if
one of
you
the
walk to
reasons
the
we
side of
need
the
to
property right there, that
show
fence,
permit second.
And if you guys are not concerned about this, I don't see concern for you guys, I mean, I see that you're kind of nodding your head, but you appear concerned, but our concern is too, I think rightfully so, that, you know, this could just be a flip. And, I mean, you flip it, you can do that, I guess, but, you know, we want to have good neighbors, we want to be good neighbors. Because we need to bring a complete plan, I guess is what we're saying. Everything needs to be complete.
Yeah. No,
What do you suggest doing,
I-
what do you suggest doing?
I hear what you guys are saying, and honestly, I don't know if this is my bad or what have you, but, you know, I'm a project manager, that's my background, and, you know, I know how I run my projects, that, you know, the T's need to be crossed and the I's need to be done, right? And so, this isn't how I would necessarily present a plan. I don't know what I don't know. You know, I've kind of been, like, as you guys are mentioning your concerns, kind of been looking to one to, hey, has this been done? Because if valid concerns, then, hey, if I was in your shoes, you know, when someone was, you know, you guys, I can feel it, like you guys are genuinely just trying to look out, and I appreciate that, and I do. Every question that you guys have is rooted in, hey, have you thought about this? This is something that you should know before you get into this, you know? And, you know, Matt, back there, who talked about, hey, can you know, have you guys thought about just buying a land that doesn't have all these issues that you guys might be better suited, you know, with that, because there's obviously costs associated with it. I don't know what's been done, honestly. I don't personally know what's been done.
Well, why don't they know
and that's the other thing, like, I didn't know.
I feel like,
I know,
one,
sorry,
we need to kind of ask you why this happened again.
Well, the
Because
thing,
we've all come out here again.
Put our
like I
holidays
said,
on hold and
the scope of my contract is just to do a rezone. Now, I've expressed some of the concerns, that you're expressing. I've submitted the plan to the assistant district engineer for DOT. He's looking at it. We're looking at the traffic volumes on the roads, and he's supposed to give me some feedback on what kind of impact he thinks that it will have. And, but again, I've only can do what I've been paid to do.
You might be getting the contract.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That, it sounds like, but how come we're, sorry, I don't wanna like jump in right now. Yeah, so the thing is, it sounds to me, now this is, I've not done this before, so I'm learning, and thank you guys for being patient, because I'm also, like, I'm coming into this really green, and everything that you guys are asking, fantastic questions. I do think that, like, I'm asking myself, as I'm hearing these questions, that why are we having this meeting before we kind of, because I guess I don't know what this meeting was.
It's a big mistake when we had it tonight. Do they need to get with Greg?
Do we
Greg back
need,
here
like,
before they attempt to do anything else? I mean, we gotta sit down with him and have him walk them through. Because if we don't do it, we're gonna have, this is gonna happen to us again.
Right.
This is, we're frustrated.
we need a
with
fully
what
baked
first time.
plan, 'cause
And
this is what I didn't
I like
know.
you guys, and that's kind of like, it's not about that, but it's just you're totally unprepared for the second time, and you don't act like you even, like, you just kind of like, didn't even know.
Well, I didn't know
It's
what
really
the
close.
expectation, I didn't know what the expectation for this particular
We
meeting.
get that, we do get it.
I thought it was like a, hey, it's a meet and greet type of situations where, you know, you guys are gonna ask some questions.
we wanna see what the blueprint is.
So, but is that, so, sorry, this is just me being ignorant to this. Is the purpose of this meeting to have, like, to bring forth a very detailed analysis in front of the?
And you'll find out.
Okay.
When
So obviously we're not there, and I can understand the frustration.
Right.
A degree of detail.
A degree of
May
detail.
not be the final
No,
thing,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it'll be in a position where we can answer a lot of people's questions.
Yeah.
Where are the subdivisions?
Sure.
Where's parking?
Where's parking? You know, questions, like I said, with fire marshal, there's just a lot of issues.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's stuff that we need to know.
That's
Right, and I feel like that's due diligence, we wanna know.
I'm gonna give Greg the floor, if you
Give
don't
these
care.
numbers.
They
Yeah.
don't know a lot of things, and we don't wanna go through this again. And we don't want them to go through it again. Can they sit down with you and you go over some things with them, because this is, they really don't know a lot.
Yeah, you know, once a representative, I've spoken with him several times regarding this project. I'd be happy to meet with anybody involved in this project, to get, you know, the information they need,
Are you
code
guys willing
references
to
they
do
need.
that? You willing to sit down with them?
Yeah,
I mean, we
now-
wanna do it right.
Now, Greg's not gonna be, you know, walking you through it. You have to hire somebody to do all the legwork and do all this, but he can send you in that right direction.
What's the person, I mean, is that something that we can do as well? We just have to expand your contract? Is that, okay.
So are we considering this the community meeting, or are you going to
I wanna,
get a third edition?
We probably need to do it again.
You opened up your presentation by saying, okay, I'm gonna open it up to questions, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what you said. Just curious, and I understand the intentions of it. The questions that we were gonna ask was about in-depth of your faith, the practices, the beliefs, the rituals and all that. Is that what you expected us to ask?
I think.
So that's fine if you did, I'm just saying.
No, it wasn't that.
Okay,
Yeah.
there was, you said you were surprised at what we were asking. These
Well,
are all valid
the
questions.
detail, like in terms of like, you know, the septic, I mean, I know we had the, you know, we've had pre-meetings before this, and, you know, there's just things that we're like, oh, these are the kind of questions, like, what do you guys, what's your intention with the structure, like that, the barn, this barn? What's your intention with that, number one? Number two is, what's the parking situation gonna look like? That's number two. Number three, the question around, you know, what's the traffic impact you know, I think the TIA, is that what it's called? Like, those are the types of questions that.
Right, so we asked, those are the questions that you were expecting us to ask.
Yeah.
We asked and you had no answers.
Well, I don't,
You
but,
didn't have one answer.
you know, the technical questions. No,
I
no.
was not expecting, I'm here because I
Well,
was
yeah,
$3,000,
but I'm saying-
and I honestly, I was curious. I feel that I'm also a resident here.
Right, you're learning as much as we are.
I
And
have
it's
a
your
vested
church.
interest in everything that goes on.
This has been a lot to ask these people to come back the second time. It's a lot to get people out in a community meeting, period.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of Arrow Plantation people in here that we personally, Chad and I, and others have worked hard to get people back here and attending. We've had a lot of conversations. Chad has done so much reaching out to the previous owner, trying to find out as much information as we can. And it seems like Chad's probably done more work than you guys at this point. And
Well,
that's,
I'd say, Melissa, let's go ahead and, I would say, go ahead and stop now, because we sort of know.
Let me step in before we fly.
Okay.
I do live next door. I've been here 77 years. This is way outdated. Some people that lives in here is not even here anymore. Right. Property owners and stuff.
That was
Plus,
updated.
you
You
have.
don't even have an updated plat.
Sir?
I mean, they don't even have an
He said
updated.
the plat's not updated. Yeah, they,
Documentation.
yeah, I know, but these people here that you still got owning the property don't own it. I have worked with the people that's, ever since, you know, I grew up, because I lived next door. I have worked with all the owners on different things and stuff, and just like Todd Alexanders. I knew what he was doing and tried to talk for him about that. But trying to find out your sewer layout, you can go to the health department and get all your supposed to be drawings, because back then it was still permitted and everything, all that's supposed to be done. So it's, you can find out all that information if you just take a little bit of time to, you know, go to those departments that.
You guys got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
There's
so
a lot of work.
I'd say just go ahead and stop now, and just, you know, everybody's tried to throw in to help you, and just sort of, you know.
Thank you.
No, hey, no, I appreciate the questions, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
I agree with you.
Trying to look at possibly doing a site.
We didn't talk about it one time.
Okay, was that something you all were even considering, or? I wondered, because he grew up here, right? Like you guys grew up.
Yeah, I've been here 77 years.
Right.
I've seen this problem change many times.
Right.
You do the same thing. If they come to
Yeah,
the council like tonight,
Todd Chad, which was his brother.
there's no information,
2 years
so
younger.
they're gonna have to get that
He used to
information.
come out of the house after me and after school, stay over there. She could come by and pick him up, and she'd come by.
Because he must have mentioned that he and his friends would ride his bikes down
They're not
Newtown
prepared,
Road.
because they can.
He would go play at the plantation and parades and all that.
I've been doing this for 22 years.
Well, I'm Chad. I live in Arrow Plantation. Yeah, we moved here. We moved here in 2007. We've been in Wayne County since '99, but we've